Okay. We are now live on the tube.
Yes.
I am not putting us live on Facebook. Somebody can stick a link up there. I'm not doing it.
Done with Facebook now, are you?
I can't be arsed, mate.
I've had enough.
Fucking no one.
But then everyone, I suppose that's how people find out about it.
Just streaming to no one. What's the point? We can stick a link up to the YouTube chat. A YouTube stream. We don't need to actually stream direct to Facebook. I'm not fucking about with that anymore.
There you go, guys. We're not doing
Yeah, just put a link.
Fuck yous.
Share it yourselves.
Yeah, fuck Facebook.
Share it for us, people.
Yeah, man. So other than that,
yeah, you should subscribe to this Hop Edition YouTube channel and then hit the bell so you get notifications when we go live.
Oh my god!
Subscribe and hit the bell.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Mr. Birkland.
Yeah, well, I don't think we've got that many subscribers on our YouTube channel. To be fair, it's not
as
really
many
that.
as we should have.
Yeah,
with this awesome content.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably better. On iTunes, isn't it?
Abigail, go to bed, please.
Your podcast and listening.
Excellent.
How good? How good? Right.
I'm trying to do a podcast here.
Tricky. I was watching.
I'm live on YouTube. You know what I mean?
No, go on, Andy.
I was listening to the Ivan Juggins one on the plane home.
Yeah.
Second part. So after the commercial onwards, and I got to the end, and it was like, Chris, you agree with me and all this sort of stuff, but Ivan's like, there's only one thing I can't agree with. And it was the fucking lager yeast.
He brought out the lager.
Yeah,
it's not a lager.
It just goes to show if you're descended from criminals, you often get things wrong.
Hey, he's from New Zealand.
It was just a perfect end.
What can I say? Right, so I've been shafted by everybody now, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Don't really care though. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
it is possible that I'm the only person who's right and you were all wrong.
Well, it's all good for the bants, isn't it?
I'm with you, Chris. I'm pro pseudo lager.
And to be fair, we're the two best looking people on the podcast, so
you're looking
fuck off.
I think you've got yourself mixed.
It's the baby face look, mate.
I mean, Owen, maybe.
Wow.
Boom shaka wow wow.
Hang on a sec. Hang on, just a minute. Is that better?
No.
Is that an improvement?
Nah.
No, it's still here.
Nah.
The paper bag is a better option.
Well, one over my face and one over yours. So just
keep your tits. We'll keep your tits out.
What's wrong with my tits?
I'm saying they're the good part.
You're trying to say I'm flat-chested, motherfucker.
Anyway,
right? Let's hit the record button on this one, shall we?
What are we actually covering?
I don't know. We went to Southampton last weekend and met with some weirdos. So.
Yeah, should we hit record so that
competition
we're just gonna freestyle this shit, are we?
Yeah, man.
All right.
I mean, I would have done notes, but I didn't know who was coming.
I've got an email from Reiki.
Do you know? I was sitting there with the missus, and Chris obviously messaged in the chat. We're still all good for 8 o'clock tonight. I was like, what?
Shit!
Sarah, is it okay if you put Matthew down tonight? So yeah, right. She was great.
Anyway, Owen, you got an email from Reiki.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear my glycol chiller buzzing away? I can turn it off.
He was just asking for some details about.
I think it's all right, mate.
Sure. About Hod
winners.
The winners. He was also saying he was getting queries from people about prizes.
Really?
Why would he be getting queries from anyone?
You tell me, Chris.
That's because the world's full of morons. Right.
There's only one person who got the
people cannot read.
Anyway.
People can't read.
Okay. Anyway. Gentlemen, Audacity. Owen, do your quick check.
I haven't even loaded it yet.
I swear to God.
Whoop. Chris is cross.
Oh, this is good.
This is my angry face.
Right.
It's also
All
my
good.
slightly happy face because
good to
Botox
go.
ain't fun, people.
All right, shut your pie hole. Let's go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent.
Meow.
Meow. Okay, give me a second. I'll do the intro. Holy shit, that is loud. Okay, let's try that. Nope, that's too quiet now.
Yeah.
Is that any better? Are we about right there?
Sounds good.
Yeah? Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Hop Edition podcast. This is the debrief, the competition roundup, the tales of the unexpected for what occurred with our first homebrew competition, the Hop Edition with Unity Brewing Co. competition, which we did last weekend in Southampton. Results are available on the website, but we'll get to all that lot soon. It was a great weekend. I think we'd all agree with that one. It was an eye-opening weekend. I think we could definitely all agree with that one. And I think what we need to do right now is we actually need to we need to talk about what beers we're drinking. So, Tricky, what are you drinking?
I have got a... What is this? It's a Pilsner that I brewed. And I've completely forgotten all the details about it, apart from it's supposed to be a sort of Czech style Pilsner. It's got some Saaz in it and bit of Aurora hops as well. So it's the kind of Czech Pilsner recipe that I've kind of been fiddling around with for a few iterations so far. I think the only difference with this one was I used a different yeast on it. So it was the...
You used Quake, right?
No. I used the Diamond Lager yeast, Laumon. So yeah,
Munich.
put dry yeast into it. Well, some say it's a Munich yeast that they've dried. Yeah, so I don't know. It certainly tastes a bit. Well, I think it tastes a bit different to 3470, which is what some people say it is.
Fine, Stefana.
I think it's got a bit more, character than that. But I may be wrong. It might be that. Who knows? Anyway, it's nice. It's been in the keg for ages, so it's cleared down nicely. Needs a little bit more carbonation, though. I think it's gone a little bit flat while I was away because I turned it down for serving pressure. Otherwise, very drinkable. Who's next?
Excellent. Owen, what you got?
I'm drinking a commercial beer, partly because I just forgot to pour a homebrew. Sorry about that, everyone. I apologise.
It's all right. We've already tried your homebrew at the weekend.
Yeah,
all the homebrew.
So I'm drinking a can of Polly's, which I think Brett the Hitman Hart brought along at the weekend. Thanks, Brett. This is called Floret. It's a pale ale, 4.5%, and it is Azacca, Citra, and Simcoe. Really, really pungent. I'm just getting a lot of really fleshy mango and melon on the nose, and it's quite bitter.
Do you get any pine?
Any pine?
Yeah, from Simcoe.
Maybe just sitting behind there, just structurally, kind of a little bit of pine there. Doesn't jump out, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just a proper fruit bowl. Tiny bit of dank, and it's got good body in it for a 4.5% beer. Obviously, because of a lot of the adjuncts, but and it's quite bitter, which is quite nice.
Sounds like a decent beer.
Oh yeah, it's really nice.
Where does that rank on your holy shitter meter?
It's really good flavour as well, almost like a sherbety, slightly melony. I'm giving that a 9 out of 10. Right, if I had that on tap, I'd be like, that would be the only beer I'd probably ever drink again.
So it rates about a 9.0 on your holy shitter meter.
Yeah, so holy shit.
That sounds
Damn.
good. That sounds good. Andy, come on, what you got?
I've got Seaview Sunset V2, which is a pale that I've done. Actually, let's get it focused. There we go. Wow, look at that.
Oh, bit of clarity.
Radio
Nice.
Gold, that.
Sex. It's really good, actually. It's Amarillo Mosaic and Sabro because everybody's brewing with Sabro right now. Yep, it's banging. It's got a nice. It originally had way too much pine from the Amarillo, and it wasn't something. Amarillo wasn't something I always associated with pine. I thought it'd be more Simcoe because I did do a Simcoe Amarillo beer prior, and it was like pine. But actually, I think it's all coming from the Amarillo because it was in this. It's actually now the pine's subdued a bit, and it's now more tangerine. And then the Sabro's bringing this super creamy sort of, that kind of, it's got that kind of woody coconut thing going on the back. It's very, very good. So yeah.
And Andy, I'd have thought you
Nice.
probably had enough of that after the weekend.
Sabro, yeah. That's, I think that's why I was making hints. But it's not, how we were getting that real kind of, is it Mexicana sort of, what's the way to describe it? You know how like you get the lime from New Zealand hops, so the Sabro
Like a
and Talus
woody
has got
minty
that,
thing in the background, isn't it?
that whiffs on.
Like the herbaceous.
I'm not getting
kind of
that from
vibe.
because I think the Amarillo is definitely bringing more tangerine notes to it, so it seems to be playing well together. It's not that Sabro isn't doing that weird stuff, so it's good.
Sounds like a decent beer, mate.
Yep, maybe you, Chris.
Well, I've only just got a little bit left because you guys took so long. I have the only keg of beer that I currently have any beer in.
Hibiscus?
It's the Raspberry and Hibiscus Saison, of which I weighed the keg. Based on the fact that I actually log all of the weights of all of my kegs, I weighed this one, and there is, excuse me, based on the final gravity reading of the beer, 3 pints and about 140 mil left.
Oh dear, so you've got
That's
no
the
beer.
beer mail for us sorted then.
No, that's me done. I'm out of beer.
Mate, that's
Seems to be a
tragic.
Chronic lack of planning and forethought.
No, there was loads of forethought, mate. What the problem is I've got 2 fucking kids that won't leave me alone.
Yeah,
That's the issue I have. Is I don't get time to brew.
issue right now.
Well, you brew outside as well, so there's
Yeah.
a kind of health and safety reason with the boiling water and all that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's an issue for me, but I do have a beer in the freezer which is cold crashed.
Okay, what's that?
Oh god, the wife's complaining she can hear me in the house. I don't care. So the
Close the windows.
yeah, just close your ears. So it's kind of, I've got to be careful when I can brew. I've got to be careful, how I brew. Other than that, it's just, I've got to plan literally weeks in advance in order to be able to have a brew day. So there will be a couple of brew days happening next week. Hopefully there'll be one happening on Sunday. And then I'll have some beer. And hopefully I'll be able to catch up and have a full set of kegs by the end of the summer. Who knows? You never know. You're looking at raffle deer. It's decent. It's clearing down a little bit. It's still got a really nice chunk of raspberry, and the hibiscus is adding this really nice kind of hedgerow thing on top of the raspberry, which is honestly, it's very, very pleasant. It's a really good beer, that one. I like it.
Chris, I'm just remembering, if you not got a few tins of malt extract that you could just bang in a fermenter.
Well, no, I don't, Andy, because they've all gone into boxes today.
They went out in the goodies.
Well, they haven't gone out yet because for some reason our local post office is closed on a Wednesday.
Okay.
And to be fair, the wife fell asleep for 2 hours this afternoon, so I was daddy again. And I didn't get a chance to go down to the post office, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
She was tired, poor lass. Let her sleep. So yeah.
Other than such a good husband.
No, just let her get on with it. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah.
Sure.
There we go. So yeah, it's a good beer. There's not a lot of it left, so
So you never did get that sent out to us, did you, Chris? You promised we were going to get a bottle of that.
Unbelievable.
I'm gutted.
I didn't, but I will be perfectly honest with you, right? Straight up, this is getting rebrewed again, and it's within my next 2 beers.
That good?
Okay.
It's that good.
I'll look forward to that beer mail at some point in 2023 then,
It'd be around about Christmas, mate.
Anyway, rather than just shitting all over Chris's beer mail or lack of it, I guess we should start talking about the competition. Firstly, I think we should probably just do one last shout out to all of the sponsors
Yeah,
who
legends.
helped us out. So obviously Unity themselves for hosting, and then we had the Malt Miller putting up the top prize. We had Brew Keg Tap also putting up some awesome stuff. Brew Day, who have actually managed to get the prizes out to people already, which is incredible. So, yeah, if you want a quick turnaround on some orders for some really good all grain kits, go and check them out. There's still links to all of the sponsors on the THA Comps website, by the way. Cross My Loof Brew, who did a big package of hops. Yakima Chief, and special mention for Robbie, who did turn up for the competition and helped out with the judging as well.
Can
I
I
nice
just
guy.
What
Absolute
a gentleman.
top
A
geezer,
gentleman
yeah.
and a scholar.
absolute legend. Can I just jump in right now and say, for those of you who placed in the top 10, I'm sure we'll be going through the winners list because otherwise why would we be doing this podcast? For those of you in the top 10, each one of you has a couple of packs of Yakima Chief hops in your boxes. Okay? Some of you have got cryo. Some of you have got normal. Okay? Those of you who've got cryo, I've put a freezer block in there because obviously I want to keep things chill, right? However, we didn't leave enough money in the budget to be able to pay for next day shipping. So they're going to be cool when they get to you, but they're probably not going to be cold. Okay. So these things, when they come, make sure you get those hops straight into the freezer. Very important. Okay.
I mean, yeah, those hops, that's almost as good as the Dudes Brew sticker that they're going to have in there as well, isn't it?
There are a few people who've got a Dudes Brews beer mat.
Beer mats, there's a few key rings in there as well. I mixed it up a little bit, so
Yeah,
some top notch merch
And the-
on those goodie bags as well.
And the difference
limited edition.
That's what everyone was after for the prize winners.
And just to clarify, the difference between the podcast and Dudes Brews is everybody's got beer, everybody's got key rings, everybody's got a pin, everybody's got stickers, everybody's got placemats, and everybody has bottle tops. Because unlike Tricky, I'm not tighter than the duck's ass.
I gave what I had available at the time. Anyway,
look, you guys are shitting on me.
No, let's get back to the sponsors. Let's get back to the sponsors. So next on the list we had BrewCon. I have to do a quick note on BrewCon because BrewCon kind of isn't the sponsor now. It's changed to Lauter or Lauter, however you want to say it, Bottle Shop, because I spoke to John, who won the prize that would have been the BrewCon tickets, and obviously being up in Scotland, he wasn't going to be able to get down for it. So I had a quick chat with Simon, who obviously organises BrewCon, but he also owns the Lauter Bottle Shop or is joint owner of the bottle shop, and basically said, is there any chance of an alternative prize? And he said he's going to stick some cans in the post for John. So that's awesome. Thank you very much, Simon. And yeah, so BrewCon will be awesome. Make sure you get yourselves along to that on the 8th of October if you can. But also go and check out Simon's bottle shop, and he does do online orders. So it's a great little sort of independent bottle shop, but they do also do, sort of UK wide online orders and stuff as well. So, and they've got a great selection on the website. So go and check that out. So it's I've just checked the email. We'll put a link in the description of this when it goes up on the actual proper podcast site, but it's louterbottleshop.co.uk. Go and have a look at what they're doing. And then a couple more just to mention. So we've got Inkbirds, who very kindly donated a couple of their brewing related sort of bits of kit. I think a Wi-Fi 308 and one of the Thermopens, and Muntons, who sent loads and loads of liquid malt extracts in various flavors that Chris was really excited about having to repackage into the goodie bags. So
can I just
again, Muntons for that.
I just want to say, Muntons, thank you very much for sending them. However, there were some very, very odd malt extracts in there, to the point where, and I didn't want to do this, but I've had to kind of ship them out in pairs. Okay, so not everybody in the top 10 who got a goodie bag will get 2 tins of malt extract. All right. So what I've done is there were a load of extra goodies that came from like Yakima Chief and stuff like that. And I've kind of split everything down so that each goodie pack is kind of maybe not quite completely equal, but as equal as I could make it with what I had. So there's some beanies and there's some other bits and bobs that went in there. And I happened to have a bouncer filter floating around that had been in the box for about 9 months I'd never used. So that went into one of the boxes as well. And there's a few other bits and bobs. So
we've got to add Chris Millington to the sponsor list now as well. He's in there donating prizes. Cheers, Chris. That's awesome.
I donated 2 prizes, but we won't go into that. It's kind of irrelevant.
It's probably it's like one of the most epic prize hauls I've ever heard from a homebrew competition. Period, isn't it?
It kind of is. To be fair, we had Shilly on our team, and he shilled like a good shill always should. And we managed to pull together some serious sponsorship for this. And you know, it's been a brilliant competition because I've had people message me and say, look, this is my first ever homebrew comp that I've sent a beer into. And we only did it because of you guys, because of the Hop Edition. And that's amazing because one of those people who's never entered a homebrew competition before actually placed 4th and is sitting on our chat at the moment. Gary.
Is that Gary's first comp?
Gary Hughes' first comp.
Right, Gary, here's the thing. Your beer was my favourite. The American Pale was my favourite beer.
That was the old school kind of classic styled APA, wasn't it? That everyone was like, yeah, it's just a clean classic APA.
That was my first choice. So yeah, there you go.
I think his beer was called Old Faithful.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I think it was, it was an Old Faithful recipe, I reckon, and it was a classic APA. It was good.
I think it was Faith. Was it not based on someone? I think Brett was telling me he spoke to him, and it was like the Faith, best Northern Monk, and then he's tweaked it or whatever. So yeah,
it's a good beer. It's a damn good beer.
I really liked it. Yeah,
the top 4 were very, very tight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we landed some awesome sponsors, and you know, in complete antithesis to what certain people said on a certain thread that we made, it's actually cost me about 375 quid this competition. So, you know, we have not made a penny off of
more
this.
than you in fact got through the entry fees there.
Well, there was flights, accommodation,
beer.
Food.
There we go. You know, don't do these
let's
things.
not even mention Owen's bill from the butchers as well.
Yeah.
That's where the real money went.
Owen's building bill, where he basically rebuilt his whole back garden to host us.
My garden landscaping, which I can't really claim to the competition, to be honest, but it needed doing.
Stick it on the expenses, Owen. Stick it on the expenses.
It's VAT.
We're raking it in after all, so you know
it's VAT deductible, and you know. No, I mean, feeding and entertaining you lot was, it was a somewhat of an expensive venture, but
them burgers were worth it.
Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed themselves.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
The brisket.
But I'd just like to say, thank you for you guys coming down, and everyone that came down to judge the competition. I think it went really, really smoothly. It went really well. I think it was well organised.
Especially our very first comp.
I think so. I think there was a lot of work that went into it, and I know we're just sort of patting ourselves on the back, literally on our own podcast here. But equally, sorting all the beers out through the week ahead of that was a bit hectic. But I hope I did people justice by keeping the beers as cold as possible, and or at least avoiding them getting too warm for too long. Which isn't an easy task when you've got about 180 bottles arriving at your house through the period of a week. So those all were tucked away safely at Unity's cold store, and it was a great day, wasn't it?
And question: how many bottles have turned up since Friday?
No, I think we had one entry turn up over the weekend. Arrived on Saturday. I was surprised, actually. I was expecting quite a few on Friday, and I was expecting a few to come in on Saturday. But sadly, and I'm not too sure whose beer it was, they'd posted it on Monday,
Yeah,
and
through
it
no
didn't
fault
and
of their own. That was just
no
the
fault of
post
their
office.
own. Just the Royal Mail effed up, and it turned up on Saturday.
We
Sadly.
did drink it though on the Saturday and enjoyed it then. So we
did.
still got to drink it. It wasn't wasted.
Can I just say, Owen, if you've still got the bottles and you've still got the number and we can work out who it is, send me the name over and I'll chuck him a Hop Edition little goodie bag over to him.
Yeah, okay, mate. I'll find that. I'm pretty sure I know what the bottle looked like. It had a red cap. If that helps anyone. No.
Doesn't help me, to be fair, but there we go.
Yeah. The person that posted it on the Monday, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, just let me know. I'll send him a goodie bag.
Which really sucks, right? If you sent it Monday, well in advance, right? A lot of people didn't post it Monday. I got a lot of.
I think it gets sent
Thursday.
The only thing was it was sent second class.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough. I reckon most of the beers got sent second class. To be fair,
yeah.
I mean, some people, had all manner of like a Parcel Force, a DPD, everyone turning up. It was great fun. Anyway, what else should we talk about then?
I think we need to go through the results, really, don't we? And I just happen to have them right here in front of me. So let's do this. First place was Mr. Martin Hodinot with his beer, an American Pale Ale, Strong Words Said Softly. Now, that was actually my second ranked beer. However, it was literally nip and tuck between that and the beer that finished third for me. Great beer, really nice, thoroughly deserved to win. But yeah, great beer. Second place, Brett Harmon with his beer For Uncle Owen. Not at all like he was trying to, charm the judges there. But that was a hazy IPA, and again, that was a superb. To be fair, the top four, you literally could have put those numbers in a hat, pulled them out at random, and it would have been exactly,
Well, I think first place. No, there was a difference. But first place was definitely a difference.
I think
second,
as far as the
third,
scores
and
go,
fourth,
there was quite a big gap, wasn't there, for first to second?
But second, third, and fourth were like a point or two in it, sort of thing between them.
But it was definitely at that point it became very much like subjective. Which one is your personal preference out of the beers? Because we weren't judging two styles, so we weren't sort of going, "Is this the best example of a hazy pale?" We were just saying, "Which one
it's like best
do you think is the best beer?"
Best of show.
It was effectively a best of show, wasn't it? So we got down to, was it 12 beers?
Yeah, we got to 12.
We eliminated two
round
from those 12, and then we selected out of the 10, how they ranked.
Yeah.
As Tricky said, not by style, but purely by the best of the beers. And you're quite right. I think first was standout. I think second was very, very good. I actually thought, for me, the second place beer was the best. But there was a lot of us judging, and there's a process. Yeah. And just because I thought it was the best beer, a lot of other people didn't. So
that was like maybe
that's kind of the way it goes, right? And that's the fairest possible way of determining the places and who comes first down to 10th.
So just to back up what I've been saying for the last 2.5 years, it's basically a ballet contest. So
a very hard ballet contest. I think, Chris, you've got more appreciation of it now, would you not say?
Can that come a bit later? I like to leave the audience wanting. Let that come later, okay?
He's going to try and avoid it now.
I'm not going to avoid it at all. I'm going to address it head on because I'm a man of my word and I am willing to learn. So third place was Aaron Rennie with his entry Mutual Support, an American Pale, another great beer.
Did you do second place?
I did, Brett Harmon.
Yeah, Brett.
Oh, you did? All right.
I did.
I'll just shut up.
Have a beer, Owen.
Do continue.
Fourth place was Gary Hughes with his Old Faithful American Pale Ale, which was a stunner. That was a great beer. And then fifth place was Sam Thacker-Jones with Kicking Rocks from the Bristol Homebrew Collab with his Hazy IPA, which was another good beer. And then Richie Brooks with Brooksley Pig, a Hazy IPA. Johnny Pollock with Gold Digger, a British Golden Ale. which I thought was very good. Then Raphael Clegg Vinyl, because he's already sent me an email to correct pronunciation of his name, with Golden Blue, an American wheat beer from the London Amateur Brewers, which I have to say, I really like the fact that we had some people sending in American wheat beers.
Yeah,
I thought that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that the fact that we got such a cross section of beers, including one sent in Tropicana bottles. And Mark Zeelander came 9th with 46-2, which was an American pale ale. Now, here's where we come to a slight bug with the software that we used, as Tricky found out yesterday, and as I have wrestled with for an hour and a half today.
Much to our amusement, right?
And I'm ready to stab.
You still didn't get a fix for that then, Chris?
No chance. No chance. Mark Zeelander, and then 10th place was Duncan Power. I couldn't actually tell you the name of his beer or the style of it because we don't have it on our software, because every time we try and put you in 10th, Duncan, it goes, nah, he was 5th.
Oh, no, hang on. You can see him on table 3. So if you scroll down on the results list.
Oh, is he down there?
So it was a hazy IPA called Free at Last. But yeah, basically, due to some random gremlin in the competition software, if you put a 10th place in on Best of Show, it just randomly plonks it into the middle of the list rather than in the order that it's supposed to be in. So we thought it best to take it off rather than confuse everyone with why that list was different to the others.
But don't worry, when we do the actual when we do the write-up, it will be in the right place on the hopedition.uk website and on Facebook. And I think it already is in the right place on Facebook.
It is, yeah. And obviously you will be getting your goodie bag, Duncan, so do not worry.
Duncan, don't worry, bruv. I've hooked you up. So other than that, I thought the competition went really well. And to go to the point that Andy was just trying to make, I will give BJCP judges a little tiny bit more credit than I was giving them before. It is still a ballet contest. It is still interpretation. It is still personal opinion. I get that. However, I've got my phone's going mental for some reason. But having done it now, I can see the complexities involved in doing it. And I can also appreciate that there is a lot of things that are outside the control of the brewer when it comes to the actual beer being judged. Yeah. And I say that with the utmost respect for the people who've actually put beers in, because I'll be honest with you, bigger balls than I've got right now. But I've got to give those BJCP judges just a teeny weeny little bit more credit than I have before.
It wasn't easy.
No.
And it was quite, I think it was quite a session of the palate fatigue was probably a big problem where, you know, you're trying so many different beers, and it was good to get the break in and stuff like that as well to try and reset.
I agree. Like the palate fatigue was probably even worse because there was so many different types of beers. Like, you know, although we were initially judging them in sort of category groupings, it was still. I mean, I guess that was probably even worse for the guys on the like golden ales and stuff because that was a real mixture of different things. But I mean, even on like the APA table, because obviously there was such a wide interpretation of that because we were saying to people it doesn't have to stick to the style guidelines as such. So there was a lot of stuff that was very much the hazy end of the scale. There's a lot of stuff that was more classic. And yeah, I don't know. Would it have been easier if we were sort of judging to the guidelines more closely? I don't know, but it was. My palate was fucked by the end. That's all I know. At one point, I was like, "This beer suddenly started to taste of garlic for me. What the fuck is going on?" So no, it didn't taste like that on the first go. So yeah, it was definitely for all of us who haven't done any kind of organized judging like that in a you know fairly big kind of session with lots of different beers going on. I think it was a bit of an eye opener to see what the reality of how that will impact on your ability to kind of actually interpret what's going on in a beer and be able to judge it in any kind of objective way, it's really difficult. So yeah,
I felt that you did learn a lot, quite quickly, and it was good to try so many beers. Similar. Well, for me and Owen, it was the hazies.
Yeah.
All together, and to see what this is, because we had Jimmy with us and Robbie on our table, so it was the four of us, and their experience was it's unreal. So when you're sitting there next to them, and then afterwards you've tried it all, you've made up your mind, and then discussing afterwards, sort of thing,
yeah,
what they were coming away with and stuff was
yeah. It
really
sounded
kind of
like you
trained
guys
their
were getting a little
palate.
bit of an off flavors kind of masterclass over there in
Yeah.
terms of like them being able to pick stuff out really quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe on our side, because we were like literally next to you, it was a bit more of a, I think it might have this, and it was kind of round the table.
Yeah.
Whereas I could hear they were kind of like, if something wasn't right, they were straight on it.
So I now know how to identify DMS, oxidization, but that's probably one. Oxidization is probably one that's been pretty straightforward, and then diacetyl. So they were the kind of three main off flavors that in the hazies we came across. I know that in Chris's he was shouting about the green apple sort of thing.
Acetaldehyde,
Yeah.
Which wasn't an issue with the hazies, I don't think.
There wasn't. I don't think we came across too much acetaldehyde in the hazy beers. Predominantly, it was diacetyl
and DMS.
I'm getting flashbacks from the judging,
and also I guess quite a lot of the beers just didn't carry enough hop aroma and flavour.
Mm-hmm.
There was it just didn't. Some of them just came out quite malty. Some of them had just weird fermentation flaws in them, just sort of really odd, like strange flavors.
Yeah.
Which then combined with the hop aroma and flavor to create something quite strange.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, a lot of them did carry good hop aroma and good hop flavor, and but they may have been quite thin, or there was a few real standouts that had very good body to the beer. Generally, carbonation was really good. Generally, oxidation wasn't terrible. I don't think we actually had any
very many
purple beers, which was really good out the hazies. I think actually almost all of them were like on point in terms of color.
Yeah.
Almost all of them were on point in terms of ABV and the IBUs. So everyone kind of struck the parameters of what was asked well. I think there was maybe one or two that looked a little bit on the turn in terms of grey, slightly brown. But awful lot of them were good beers.
Yeah, definitely.
So well done to everyone.
I think we were talking. I think we were talking in a future podcast we were going to talk about these kind of off flavors and how to possibly avoid it. It'd be a good conversation, because it was a shame that you go to all that kind of effort and then there's maybe just one little thing that's maybe just tripped you up at the end. And
you can tell there was a lot of beers that had come in that were probably, at one point were great, and it's clearly, deteriorated rapidly while it's been in transit or whatever. And
I've spoken to one or two, and they've tried it at home. At home, it's fine, but as it's travelled, it's whatever's happened. If it's started re-fermenting in the bottle or something, because sometimes what you do is you tend to cut maybe you're in a rush and you're cutting your fermentation tight, and you're dry hopping it maybe at a lower temperature, and then you're getting would you call it hop creep or something in the bottle as it travels, and then that's where all these crazy off flavors are coming from. So
I think there's a few takeaways for us as far as the competition and how we sort of set up and organized it, as well as obviously takeaways for people who entered beers in there. I mean, obviously it's completely out of our control, but having it with a extreme heat wave like a week or two before the competition probably
That
didn't
help.
help
No.
with some of the beers that were maybe sent out earlier. So in some ways it may have been a bit of a disadvantage, some of the beers that went out more promptly than others because of the weather that was going on. I think we did have a relatively quick kind of turnaround in terms of time that people had to get the beers together. There may have been a few beers that came in that were perhaps not quite ready to be packaged and sent out.
Yeah.
Particularly where we ended up with potential kind of re-fermentation issues. Again, a combination there of maybe the bottles being a bit warm while they were on their way to us, or
I'll just jump in here, Tricky, and I'll say people had 2.5 months. People had they had 2.5 months from the moment we announced the competition, and we announced all the dates and everything right at the very beginning.
But then you have to buy the malt, you have to buy the hops, you have to plan it.
Yeah, people don't just go, I'm going to brew today. I know what I'm going to make. I've got the ingredients.
Absolutely. But if people have to, if they have to wait 2 weeks to buy it, they've still got 2 months.
I mean, to be fair, we still had all the entries that came in. I mean, people still managed to put beer on the table, So,
but on that same note, though, there was quite a few entries that never arrived. I think there was quite a large number of beers that didn't turn up, and again, perhaps if you've not got time to, have a plan B sort of thing, maybe that impacted on the number that we actually had turn up in the end. I don't know, but that's all the sort of things that it was our first comp, so it's all there's learning, things to learn from for us, as well as some stuff that we can talk about in future pods for ideas that we have, how you can try and make sure the beer does get there in its best condition or whatever. So
I think the really key takeaways for us there are we got 70 paid entries for our first competition, which is amazing. We had some incredible support from our sponsors, and we had some brilliant prizes, and we actually had a good, what do we have? Nearly 60 entries turn up, so that's pretty solid. So that was very, very positive.
Yeah.
But I would agree with Tricky that, I think homebrew competitions, and I've now got a better perspective on it, which I'm sure you guys do as well.
Yeah.
One thing is it's a lesson in packaging.
Absolutely.
Right. And beer, as we all know, doesn't travel well. Particularly homebrewed beer, and I think the beer may taste great at the tap, but if it's travelled, as you say, in the summer, it's not exactly being cool. If it's travelled for kind of two or 3 days in warm weather, it's probably not going to arrive in perfect condition, as it would do straight out the tap.
Well, to put that bit into perspective, Owen,
challenge.
Am I correct in saying that Martin Hodinot, he hand delivered his beer to you?
He did indeed, yeah.
So you see, beer never has travelled well, as anybody who's drunk Nuki Brown in America will tell you, which I have. It is shite. And we've just had a comment on YouTube from Richie Brooks, who said he scrapped his original. The one he entered was 3 weeks old, and it was kegged the night before, and it still had flaws in it by the time it got there. Beer don't travel well. So you have to take steps to account for things like re-fermentation. You have to take steps to account for things like, DMS and stuff like that. It's bottled the night before, not kegged the night before. He's just corrected me on that. So there are a lot of these things which we're going to go into in future pods, because as much as this has been a learning experience for the people who entered, it's probably been a steeper learning curve for us guys who are organising it. We've had some people who've entered their very first competition and ended up in 4th place. And for us, this is our first competition, first one we've ever done. It's turned out really well. We've had great support from pretty much everybody, with the exception of 2 people in Scotland. And aside from that, we've learnt as we've gone along. There are changes which we will make when we do another one, because this ain't going to be the last time there's going to be a homebrew competition run by the Hop Edition. And it's all kind of one of those, yeah, fair enough. Nobody ever has sex perfect the first time. It always takes a bit of work.
Speak for yourself, mate.
That took a strange turn, Chris.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It was back at the garage.
I agree with the analogy, perhaps.
It's a great analogy, thank you.
There's always got to be a slightly awkward analogy from Chris
There
on
does,
every
doesn't there?
podcast.
Yeah.
It's just
That's just how I roll.
It's not that, it's foreskins.
I haven't talked about foreskin yet. But
it's coming. It's always coming.
Always coming. It's been a great process for me going through this, and it has been a brilliant sort of ending to a competition for us to be able to say definitively, based on the judging, based on 7, 8, 9 people's opinion, this beer is the winner. This beer is second. This beer is third. There were no fights, right? There was nobody chucking the handbag. There was nothing like that. It was definitive. These are the scores. These are the winners. This is where it goes.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm really happy with, as a generality, the way in which everything has gone. I thought it turned out brilliant.
I
It
concur.
was great. It was great. It was awesome. And I think we're very much going to think about doing it again.
Yep. Oh, what about a mention for the Conflux? Clone recipe you can now get.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, I believe
Busted
that
up.
should now be available on the Malt Miller. If it's not been released already, there should also be a brew along, some video, social media
On a
content.
video, haven't they?
No. Have you
Coming
guys not read the press release? Jibby went one better. He's given them 2 recipes.
He has indeed,
a
West Coast
as well.
recipe as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy's an absolute legend. Okay,
So,
if you, as much as I don't like gushing, right?
oh,
I have never met a man as helpful in the homebrew world, as far as like a professional brewer helping out homebrewers, as what Jimmy was through pretty much this whole process. The man is a superstar, and as such, I would like as many people as possible to go online to unitybrewingco.co.uk.com, whichever one it is, and just show them some love. All right, buy some Conflux. Just show the man that
the
you
other
love
thing
him.
you could do, Chris, the other thing they could do, they could order the recipe kits off the Malt Miller.
Do that as well.
And then you can, but see, whilst you're there, Malt Miller actually have a whole load of Jimmy's cans as well. So if it's post P&P,
Yeah.
what you can do is get all the cans off the Malt Miller and get your recipe kit for the Conflux as well.
Yeah,
I've actually, that's what's in my fermenter right now is the Conflux clone. So I'm very much looking forward to it. It was a smashing beer at the weekend as well when we were drinking it. There was another one as well.
We also kicked Owen's keg of it pretty fast.
Yeah, that's right.
That disappeared very, very quickly. Yeah. To be fair, I don't think there was an enormous amount of it left after I'd more or less battered it like beforehand. But,
so
you know,
the lager as well was really.
Sorry, Owen. We're completely crashing your vocal. Carry on, Owen.
Oh, you're right. What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, one must, test these recipes beforehand. It would be wrong to put a recipe out, into the wild without having tested it first, and then obviously taste tested a lot of it. So
just be careful with the aromazine.
Yeah, my recommendation, and here's a little tip if anyone's interested in using aromazine, is you have to use it during active fermentation. Do not use it post fermentation like I did, because you will get sulfur problems.
Does Jimmy actually use that for the original in the brewery, or is that just one that you?
I thought that was in the West Coast. I thought it was the West Coast one.
Yeah,
see when you go to the Malt Miller website, the Conflux doesn't have the aromazine. I think it might be in that West Coast one.
Yeah, because I didn't remember him talking about that when we did the original podcast with him, which is also something we should probably reference people back to if you want to hear some of the tips from Jimmy himself. You can go back and listen to pod number. I have no idea what it is, but it's titled Unity. Jimmy from
40?
Unity or something.
40?
40
I think it's 40, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it was 40. You're absolutely right. Great podcast, that as well. That was a really good one. Really fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
That was excellent. And he gave so many good tips and stuff about
many good
how
tips.
to do different things. But I think you're right, Andy. I think the aromazine is with the West Coast recipe. I think that's probably where that conversation ended up going, from Conflux to the West Coast recipe that also ended up on the malt willer. So
yeah.
Yeah, just to jump in here, if you're ordering beers from Unity Brewing, they do one which is got Bramling Cross and what was the other one? It was the one that we were all drinking towards the end.
Mosaic.
Was it Bramling Cross and Mosaic?
Yeah.
Oh, not BRB.
BRB. Oh my!
No. BRB was Target.
That was the Pilsner, wasn't it?
What was the
UK hop Pilsner?
Dubby, isn't it? The beer was called Dubby.
Dubby.
Yeah, that's it.
You need to buy some of that.
I'm not sure they've got any left.
That was the shit. That
they
beer,
might have
man.
some left.
Not Miller's got the BRB.
So Jimmy got the Bramling Cross from Brookhouse Hops, and apparently they were saying that they can't get any more or can't produce any more of the Bramling Cross
because it requires a good frost.
Yeah,
just bought it all.
Sorry, I've only got 2 kilos in the freezer.
But this Bramling Cross from Brookhouse is like, it just gives you tons of amazing fruit flavors. None of that like shitty, sticky, leafy English hop aroma.
Not just the dirty shed floor hedgerow thing.
It's all good.
Thing.
Yeah. Amazing beer. Well worth a try.
But
Andy likes a bit of shed floor.
Yeah, I love fuck life, mate.
He's all about the twigs.
So anyway, the other thing about the competition that I wanted to discuss personally was just when we started this competition, we were very, very clear from the outset that there were not going to be any kind of feedback. However, we had a little change of heart when it came to the top 10. Was it top 10 or top 7?
6.
Top 6, was it? So for the top 6, we have a feedback sheet, which at some point over the next few days will be uploaded.
I've attempted already and failed. That software is amazing. Okay.
Well, why don't you just take some pictures of it on your phone, and then I will stick those feedback sheets up on a post.
That's probably a bad idea.
On the hopedition.uk. And I will.
I've got everyone's email address.
You're just going to email it to them.
I will just email it to you. All right.
That sounds like an easy solution.
Okay, that saves me a shitload of work. I'll take that one. So yeah, there will be feedback sheets for the top 6, tasting notes, what we noticed, how the beer came across to us, and all of that sort of stuff. The other thing that I wanted to say is there was so much acetaldehyde in some of the beers that I tasted. Now, bear in mind, I'm a chemist. I literally have bottles of this stuff. I don't understand how, and I'm going to try and understand this. This is a scientific question for me. How it is that a beer traveling, let's say 150 miles, can produce so much acetaldehyde by the time it gets to us. I want to know what that damn process is. I want to know the chemical pathway. I want to know the reactions that occur. And I want to know how the hell I got from one beer, I got buttered toast with slices of green apple on it. And I
think that oxidation can also like interact with acetaldehyde or emphasize. I'm pretty sure I've read that somewhere that it can be they can kind of work in tandem sort of thing. So like a bit of oxidation, if there is acetaldehyde there already, it will make it much more prominent or something like that. I'm pretty certain that I've read that somewhere.
It was just insane. It was insane how much I was getting. And obviously I'm susceptible to it. I pick up acetaldehyde quite easily. But Jesus Christ, some of them I was popping the lid and it was like, whoa, green apples.
Well, if it's not fully fermented and it ferments, if you're getting 25, 28, 30 degrees in the bottle while it's traveling, that's
Yeah,
the kind of
totally.
high, they're the high temperatures that you're going to get that flavour producing when the yeast is that stressed at
Crazy,
those
man.
temperatures.
It's crazy. But yeah, we're going to do a series, probably 2 or 3 podcasts talking about how to avoid these things and how to better prepare your beers to travel and to be judged. Because
and we've done general off flavors before in quite a lot of detail, I think, quite early on, but this is a bit more, needs to be a bit more specific to sort of sending beers and transporting beers and getting them to competitions, especially because there's definitely some stuff. I mean, I don't fully understand all of it. And I've had a very recent experience of sending beers off using techniques that I think are almost bulletproof, and they've not arrived in good condition, apparently. But, you know, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about on that front for sure.
Exactly. And I take this as being part of our service with the Hop Edition, which is we'll run a competition, but then we'll tell you how to do better in your competitions.
Yeah.
Because this is how we roll. Okay. We're all about giving back to the people. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I've got Chris and I were talking about potentially a good experiment that I might be able to do at home just to kind of test some of these hypotheses that we've got about traveling beer and temperature and this sort of
kind of Dr. Hans style.
No. Way beyond what Dr. Hans would do.
Oh, he's pretty thorough.
Fully scientific, triple blind, 3 different variables.
There you go.
Dr. Hans, yeah, he's a good lad. I love him to bits. I love Johnny to bits.
Yeah.
But I'm a scientist. We'll do this shit.
It'll be good. So watch out for that on a future podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Have we got anything else to talk about in terms of the comp, or are we going to wrap that up?
I think we should knock that one on the head right there because it was a fantastic time had by all. The brisket burgers were amazing. The beers were great. And I just have to say that I absolutely love you guys. I had the best weekend.
It was great,
awesome.
wasn't it? Yeah, it was good.
I mean, I imagine Andy's going to be putting some footage together at some point.
Yep. I recorded the whole load, so yeah.
Keep an eye out on Andy's channel for some nice video footage.
Yeah.
Hopefully you missed the bit where Chris got his arse out, but
yeah, I think I missed that. Someone else got it. So
no, you didn't. There was definitely a picture.
Did Brett get his tits out at some point? I think he did.
Well, you know, Brett always gets his tits out.
He might have done. Nobody could see it though.
Are we gonna post that video to the Hop Edition podcast
Facebook
YouTube
group
channel as well?
We'll post everything up.
Yeah,
we'll sort it all out.
There's photos. There'll be photos as well.
Nice.
Hopefully, there's no footage of the tennis ball incident. Leave that one there. Other than that,
my son did wonder why his tennis ball was rattling. Wow. So he was like, "Daddy, what's that?" I was like, "I don't know, mate. I don't know."
There must be a wasp got in there. So yeah, let's leave that one there, guys. It's been awesome, and to be fair, it's been an eye-opening, amazing weekend for me. Even if, and I've got to say this, right? The train back from Southampton, it is not fun to be stuck on a train with a lot of people on their way to a football match when football is your least favourite sport. It just isn't. Oh my good God.
I bet they were saying the same thing about the guy dropping all the rancid beer farts in their carriage on the way to the match. So.
I did not fart once on that train.
Cleared that.
Apart from the time when you literally message us to say you've just dropped one to try and get that woman to move from your tape. I remember
she
that.
Moved. She definitely moved. She coughed and then she moved.
He lies.
It was like What was that scene? It was like a scene out of what movie was it? With us all farting around the campfire.
What, the Blazing Saddles?
Blazing Saddles.
That was amazing.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think my neighbours were entirely
Oh,
impressed.
Jesus. Yeah, Brett got a picture of your ass outside Unity. He's just posted it in the chat.
Good lad.
Lovely.
No,
Yeah. Apologise to your neighbours for us, Owen.
I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Just tell them that we won't be back for at least another year.
Brilliant. I'm sure they'll be counting down the days on the calendar.
Okay, big shout out to everyone who's a Patreon of the Hop Edition podcast. You guys have kind of made this all possible. And for those of you who've been a Patreon now for 3 months, if you're in one of the 2 levels that gets you goodie bags and t-shirts and stuff, I will be sorting that out this coming week. There's a lot of people who've already had it because they were going to be there this weekend. Also, massive shout out to Brewcake Tap, our sponsor for the podcast. Also, sponsor of the competition. And Brett is going to be getting a wonderful mini keg kit sent his way because he came second. And Brewcake Tap are the sponsors of second place. So, Johnny, you're a legend. He's also going to be on the podcast at some point pretty soon, is Johnny. He wants to talk about some of the new stuff that's coming in from Kegland and some of the new bits and bobs he's got, as well as he wants to discuss surfing. And he also wants to discuss beer in general.
Nice.
So I hope one of you
great.
knows something about surfing because I've got no fucking idea.
I know a little bit.
That's
I know,
all right.
I know how to surf badly.
And as long as somebody knows something about surfing, we're golden. But yeah, our main podcast sponsor, Brewcake Tap, is going to be coming on probably sometime around about September.
It's about time. We look forward to it, Johnny.
Well, to be fair, he was going to be at the comp on the weekend, but he actually ended up having to go to Germany.
Oh,
Such a
yeah.
tragedy.
I think the being with us would have been better.
I think it would. You don't get brisket burgers like them in Germany, do you?
Nah.
Or brisket like that in Germany, to be fair.
Nah.
So yeah, thanks very much for joining us. It's been an absolute experience, guys, and I think now is the right time for us to wrap this one up. So thank you very much for listening. Does anybody want to say anything before we go?
We've been the Hop Edition.
And we will be the Hop Edition for quite a while to come.
Hopefully.
All right, until next time, guys. Make sure you
cheers,
enter.
everybody.
Bye.
Toodle pip.
Bye. See ya. Yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
Are you guys up for a chat, or are you all bailing off to do your thing?
I've got to do some work.
All right. You take care then, Owen.
What we
I'll
calling
hang
this?
around for 5 minutes and finish this beer, but. then
But
I've
is
got-
this an episode or what? Or
This is going to be, just call this comp feedback.
okay.
Why are you going to cut the live feed? Assume
I am.
we're not doing an after party. You doing an after party?
Yeah, well, Gary wants to do one, so we're going to have to do one. Right, Gary, I'll send you the links right now, mate. So there you go.
Gary, straight on it. Where's the chat?
There you go. And the
Away.
password is...
Chat to the boys.
And that's the password. So feel free to join us, guys. I'm going to cut the feed right about now. And yeah, we hope to see you soon. No, don't worry, Gary. I was going to stick around for a bit because I know you guys like to have a gas. So,
I was thinking a bit for a wee bit.
right. Stopping streaming now. You've got your link and you've got your Prime Minister in the YouTube chat. And Prime Minister, you've got your password.
Prime Minister's chat.
Yeah.
Bojo's rocks up.
Boris. Flippity gibbet with fluff. Right, we're gone. Bye.
See
Hey,
ya.
Brett, you're live on
Straight
YouTube.
in.
Do not swear.